Beautiful. What up? Yes, I can see. This music is nice. Hello, love. How you doing? Some more balloon antics today. You heard it here first, folks. Balloon antics. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, balloon. There's something about a balloon. Something going on with a balloon. It's been balloon time for a while now, and I haven't gotten to it. But not very long ago, actually pretty recently, a few days ago, there was a balloon. Big white balloon that was flying over the US. You might have heard about it. From China, the great country of China. We love them over there. China, as our great friend Trump would call them. Oh, look at that. I've been forgetting this the whole time. I'm finally gonna start recording this shit. Wait, did I? Boom. Recording. Okay, great. So. No, I forgot what I was talking about. Balloons! Of course, balloons. Balloons. Yeah, we're gonna wait with the balloons for a bit. I'm not really in a balloony mood right now. Just gonna chill for a bit. We're just gonna hang out. You and me. Okay. We'll have fun. So. Cool. I think so. I think it's cool. Okay. Sips iced tea. He does do that from time to time. The classic move. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be talking about a balloon. That's cool. And if anything else to talk about, I'll probably end up talking about World War II because I've been watching a documentary about it. It's good. It's on Netflix. Good documentary with real footage. Just for you, babe. Hehe. Anyway, World War II. Right. Okay. So, I was watching a documentary. It's a documentary series. It's with real footage. Or two. And it was really cool. There was like footage. One thing that I thought was probably the most impressive was the footage they got from the Pearl Harbor attack, and not like the footage from the attack on Pearl Harbor, the footage on board the ships sailing from Japan all the way to Hawaii, and just like the tension with those fucking sailors chilling, and the big admiral who was just this like very old-fashioned, very conservative guy. And yeah, man, he was called like General Admiral Nakumo or something. Nagumo, maybe. I don't remember. I'm not sure. He was funny looking, and But there was another one, and that one was even more cringe. So we prefer this one. We like this one better. So he was cool, and they did Pearl Harbor, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really remember. Point is, there were a lot of big ships, and they went really far without being seen, which was pretty cool, right? It's a cool moment in history. I mean, it's obviously not a cool moment in history. A lot of people died, but you know, it's impressive that they sailed such a massive armada all the way from Japan to Hawaii. That is quite a long way. I mean, let's take a little look at a uh nice little world map. You know, can't hurt. You know what? Let's. I'll do you one better, guys. Let's just go ahead. Let's go straight to the old Goog, the Googs, the old Goog maps. Love it or hate it, you gotta love it. Here we go. Look at this. Okay, so we got here. Beautiful. This is the greatest country on earth. Look at this. Look at this. Luxembourg, of course. Greatest country on earth. Luxembourg pride. Salute my Luxembourgian fellows. I bid you adieu, or whatever language you speak over there. So, yeah. Japan. Right. Here it is, and here's Hawaii. Quite far away. That was all I was trying to say. I pulled this whole map up just to say this is Hawaii and this is Japan, and they're far away. That is all. Thank you. Good night. So, that was cool. Again, I keep calling it cool. It was not very cool of them. It was not a cool move. And generally, they were just not very cool. If you take a look at Imperial Japan, really, just as a Wikipedia scholar, you can already get like some pretty bad tendencies from reading those. They are not nice. They did some fucked up shit. Those articles are not fun to read. I don't recommend them. But if you want to be pilled like me, you gotta. But don't. This has always been very funny to me. How does North Korea border Russia? And so close to such a big Russian city? That feels so weird to me. How is it so big? Look at this. It goes on even till here. This place is crazy, yo. Honestly, I'm feeling kind of like a Putinist. See this shit? Look at this. Look at this big ass river. Whoa! Crazy. Huh. Cool country. Big lake. Probably be really cold. Bunch of big lakes. I love big lakes. I love maps. I'm just like What If Alt. That's why I love his videos so much. Because he's literally me. I'm literally him. He's like Ryan Reynolds. No Gosling. I don't know. Some Ryan. I miss What If Alt. Let's look at some What If Alt, guys. Come on. You know you wanna. You know it. Come on. Let's do it. Come on. What If Alt. We love him. How disgust drives society, history, and the right. Based and true. How the baby boomers ruined society. Based and true. No, I want to complain about something. Okay. Civilizations of the future. Hell yeah. Oh my god. This is what I subscribed for. Mr. What If Alt, Mr. Lynch, this is why I come. to your beautiful channel. Right. Okay, let's go.
The wheel of history has turned many, many times over. History has seen so many empires rise and fall, whether the Hittites, Egyptians, Romans, Persians, British, Mauryans, Han, Aztecs, and about 1,000 more. Civilizations come and go, leaving only genetic imprints, a few cultural traditions, and ruins for their descendants. The historian Oswald Spengler said that civilizations normally last for something like 2,500 years, and we've seen 3 separate waves.
He really loves this little cycle of civilizations. He likes it when things are predictable. That's basically it. He likes it when he can predict things and things work with his models. That feels nice. Which I get. That does feel nice, and I would like it to be that way. That would be pretty politically useful because, you know, if you could account on every empire falling in this or this many years, I don't know. I feel like the fact that we can't do anything with that, sort of, the fact that we don't find utility in this theory sort of disproves it to a certain extent. But that's kind of a flimsy argument that I'm making at that point. I'm not going to be trying to debunk any of this, because it's non-debunkable. Civilizations of the future, he's just going to make stuff up, and we're going to enjoy it, okay? We're going to have a lot of fun. It'll be great. It'll be grand. Absolutely grand. But I still need to do this, right? But here, this one in there. There you go. Okay, let's go.
Of civilizations rise and fall. The first being the Bronze Age round of Mesopotamia, Egypt, or the Indus.
So these were the first peoples. We should take this with a grain of salt because it is what a faultist, but, you know, broken clock and all. So there's the Minoans, the Mycenaeans, the Hittites, the Canaanites, the Egyptians, the Elamas, the Elamas, and the Mesopotamians, and the Induses, of course, and the Chinese. Boring. I'm kidding. They're cool. We love you guys. We love everybody here at the Loose Channel.
The second being the Greeks and Romans, Persians, or Han China. Finally, Islam, the Orthodox.
Okay. We just went through a lot of maps really quickly.
The second being the Greek.
Civilizations 100 AD. Okay. Classical. Just say Roman, man. Just say Roman. He's such a pseudo-intellectual. God, I can't help myself but hate on him, but I love him. Let's keep that in mind, okay? This is all just a sign of love.
Greeks and Romans, Persians, or Han China. Finally, Islam, the Orthodox.
Ah, yes, the great country of Islam.
Civilizations in the West. In many.
Where do you live? I live in Orthodox. Okay, he loves this map. I've seen this map before. He loves this map, and I love how just Africa. No, just nothing. Just empty. No civilization there at all. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, that is cold. That is cold. Jeez. The Sahel. Yes, the great Sahel Empire. The West. What does red mean? It just means nothing? People live here, you know. This is not, there are countries here that have governments, not all functioning very well, but they are there, and the people live there. Quite a lot of them, actually. Good few of them. We've gone over this before, actually, that this part of Africa has quite a few people in there. And that you might want to keep that in mind.
In many ways, the Industrial Revolution and World Wars have crashed the pre-existing cultural traditions that came into existence over thousands of years. For most of the world, their proud thousands-of-year-old civilizations were destroyed by a combination of
1,000-year-old civilizations. 1,000-year Reich. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I had to say it. Somebody had to say it. Somebody had to say it.
European colonialism and Marxism. Now their societies desperately try to figure out how to adapt to a new industrial world. Meanwhile, the proud West...
Ah, there they come. I mean, I mentioned them first, granted, but he mentioned them more openly.
suicide during the world wars. All at the same time, science and the massive changes that came with industrial life mean that...
I do agree with the fact that, I mean, Europe during the World Wars completely committed suicide. That is true. All of the European empires collapsed. There was... You gotta keep this in mind. If it had been up to the British, they would still be the same empire. If it were up to the French, if it were up to us, the Dutch, we would still have Indonesia. We showed that during the Indonesian War of Independence when we committed war crimes over there. Not good. Not good, guys. Bad. Don't do that. Don't do war crimes.
That all societies have to adapt from their old ways. This video is meant to look over the next 800 or so years, going much further into the future than any other kind of...
My point being that if it hadn't been for the two big world wars, the world would look very differently. You know, to a certain extent, I do believe that the Western imperialist capitalist powers needed to sort of... Sounds really awful to say, but they sort of needed to break their back on the Nazis. Because, you know, they were also quite bad. The Nazis were worse, but they were also quite bad.
Video I've made to predict what new kinds of civilizations will appear around the world to replace old dying ones. We'll look at the conditions that tend to form new civilizations, and then apply those principles.
Then again, of course, you know, it's not better now. All those artificial borders drawn up over Africa. Ideally, it would have been very different. Let's just keep it at that.
To the world of the future. Prepare for a strange and mind-melting journey into the distant future.
Why does he always do this? Prepare to have your mind blown! Prepare to have your balls explode and your colon absorb you from the inside out!
We're going through a very crazy time in our current civilization, where I think a trained eye can start to see us evolving towards something new. But with the media presenting a more narrow view than ever before, it's hard to find all the information you need to get the full picture. Thankfully, I have Ground News to help me sort things out. Ground News isn't a news outlet. It's a filter that helps you look at the world from both sides of the story by getting the same story.
I mean, just having it doesn't mean it automatically removes all your bias, but it is, you know,
having Ground News to help me correlate all the information and come to my own conclusions is critical when I...
But I'm not going to give him a free ad, okay? Calm down. Back to the video.
Which includes...
Oh, right. Carol Quigley's list of things a civilization must deal with. Economic, religious, intellectual, gregarious, social, military, political. Gregarious? I'm gonna go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt and blame it on old Carol Quigley, but you're on thin ice, Rudyard.
Included religious, social, intellectual, military, economic, or political problems. A society needs to solve all of these to a certain degree, or its negative trait would become a cancer that devours the whole society.
I have solved all
Writing
of
in the 60s, Carol Quigley said that the modern West was pretty high in almost all statistics, except being fairly low in social life and impossibly low in religion. He said the West would need to have a religious revival or its entire...
Okay. Rough position for the West's grade in each of these in 1950 versus what I would say for 2020. Okay. How are we doing economically? B plus, A minus. I guess, sure. Religious, F, F. That depends on what is good. Is it good if everybody's religious? I mean, I know it's good if everybody is religious according to this guy because he's very religious. But I don't know.
Society would fall apart.
Right. Intellectual. We've gotten stupider, of course. The woke mind virus has absorbed all our brain juice, and our brains are now dry, but also smooth. They've been polished. You know, like those like balls of tinfoil on TikTok. That's our brains because of the woke mind virus. Don't you forget it. Gregarious, socialist, of course. F. Military, A. Fair enough. Political, B plus, B plus. I mean, that's kind of high. It was trash and is still trash, but it should be lower, definitely.
Religion. He said the West would need to have a religious revival or its entire society would fall apart.
True. True. We need to praise Allah. Allah must save us. Bring us our divine something. I don't know.
Point I've talked about in this video. However, his theory was also that civilizations went through patterns of various forms of behavior. His theory is that civilizations fell when they stopped having the ability to provide cultural forms to deal with the world around them as it exists in reality for them.
It's crazy.
Basically, when the cultural conditions under which that civilization formed end up being so different from the current society that a total revamp is required with a new civilization.
I'm always doing that.
Example of this is how ancient Egypt formed when the area was far away from the central action of the world and distantly separated from all neighbors by the Sahara and Arabian deserts.
I miss the Kushite tribes. You know, I'm thinking of converting to Kushitism. You think on that, boy.
Ancient Egypt developed into a theocratic absolutist monarchy that was incredibly good at keeping social stability inside Egypt. However, as the world changed and Egypt was suddenly in the center of the map, and Egypt was very geographically accessible for invaders, it made Egypt incredibly easy to conquer. Meanwhile, the worship of the emperor was no longer appealing.
I just watched a documentary about somebody conquering Egypt, but it was Erwin Rommel. He was not great.
When Egypt's peasants realized better and less exploitive religious systems existed elsewhere. This resulted in thousands of years of conquest by foreign powers.
Why? He wants to put it in there. He's so obsessed with the ethnicities. Why? It's just, yes, you can put this in there. It's probably true. It's just kind of sus, man. It's just a little bit sus. You keep talking about this stuff.
Powers, and under these conditions, the traditional Egyptian...
Yeah, man. Remember when the Albanians ruled the world? I remember. Shit was crazy, man, for almost an entire century when the Albanians ruled the world. You guys don't remember? That's crazy. Must just be built different. I mean, it's got to be you guys, right? Because I remember.
Culture wilted. I think this is a fairly decent comparison in the modern world. I'd highly recommend reading Carol Quigley's Tragedy and Hope, which I think is in competition to be the greatest history book of all time. And
okay, so the world in 1914, or aka, basically how What If Altist wants it, right? This is his dream. He wants return to the British Empire. That's what he's into. You know, good for him. Damn, this shit was big, man. Damn, the Empire, huge. Huge. What would it have been like to live in, like, French West Africa? Was China this big? China was huge at this point. Damn.
And is about how the old traditional civilizations were crushed by the Industrial Revolution and the World Wars. Almost all certainties that had been established by the Catholic Church, Confucius, or Hinduism fell apart in front of machine guns, birth control, or new religions like communism or nationalism.
Birth control! He's just fucking whacking it out there. Just fucking... Woo! Woo! That one's out of here. That's a home run, baby. Of course. It's the fucking pills, man. That is why we have not embraced Allah yet. What if autist? I thank you for this great gift of understanding that you have brought upon us. Julie.
None of the world's civilizations have the confidence they used to.
The world's nationalists I ever deal with in the what if autist community are Indian and Chinese. True!
Talk to Indian or Chinese nationalists, and the massive fervor with which they react to any criticism is a sign of a profound insecurity that comes from colonialism, Islamic radicalism.
I gotta pee too bad to be upset about that statement. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, it's... Alright, we're back. Quick baby break, but we were on a what if alt hist bender, dude. It was great. Tearing us up, and I mean instantly. Starting it out. Boom. Okay. Direct, you know. In your face, you could say.
Which in its current form is less than 100 years old, is the same thing. Funnily enough, the West, the undisputed winner of the modern world, is the least confident of the world's civilizations and is currently
sadly
attempting its own suicide. However, we humans...
That I do believe that there's something that we need to be keeping in mind here when we talk about the Western hegemony. Yes, United States have total military hegemony over the entire world. That is true. But it is in no way comparable to the time of the European empires. I mean, that was truly an entirely different level of exploitation and suppression and foreign rule. What the Americans do is they just build forts everywhere, which is what the Dutch used to do in the beginning before they started, colonizing places. They would just build forts along the coast. Which is actually kind of cool, I mean, it's not super cool. It's not great, and it is imperialism, and you shouldn't do it, okay? But it is a lot better than invading and exploiting other countries because you think you're racially superior. Okay. Explaining the borders of the 22nd century. What a faultist. You make it difficult for me to love you sometimes.
Humans need psychological stability. In the Middle Ages, they thought societies had to protect their psychic defenses in the same way they protect their physical borders from invaders, and in a lot of ways I think that's true. Without
Back in my day.
confidence in our worldview, humans either wither on the vine, like we see with so many young folks today.
Enemy is a term for how in tribal cultures, once they get into contact with the modern world, their entire cultural worldview falls apart and they far increased rates of crime, vagrancy, children born out of wedlock, suicide, and other things. The cultural worldviews that held society together vanish. I mean, it makes sense, right? If everybody's entire world gets turned upside down, bound to be a bit of a mess. That seems like it makes sense. It's hardly an a good reason to just stop history. Just say, okay, it's enough. We did it. We've done all the cool things. We can stop now. I mean, we could do that, but I don't think that's the argument he's making. But you know, that is what this argument would eventually lead to, right? So it is in a way the argument that he's making. It's the argument that he's implying. Ooh, another video. Wow, man. 5 countries that will collapse. Okay. Quick look. South Africa, UAE, Indonesia. Yeah, man, could be. I don't know. He just sucks this shit out of his ass, man. You can't tell with this guy. Could be, sure, maybe. Maybe it falls apart. Sure, could be. Yeah, this could happen. Yeah. Possible. Ooh, Ethiopia. Yeah, no, as you can tell, I'm done with this guy. Well, let's, do something differently. Let's get to the balloon! Balloon, balloon, balloon. There is a balloon. Okay, so, they shot down another balloon. The first balloon was already down. And they hadn't been downing balloons hard enough. Obviously, that's unacceptable. So, you know, gotta shoot down another balloon. And they did. And it felt good, man. Really felt good. The White House announced Friday that President Joe Biden ordered the military to down what it has described as a high-altitude object hovering over Alaska earlier in the day. The Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours. National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications John Kirby told reporters when asked about rumors for other suspected Chinese civilian balloon. The high-altitude object, Kirby said, was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the civilian safety of civilian flight, I do declare. Yeah, cool, man. Okay, so another balloon. What's with all these balloons? This one's not as interesting. I can accept that. The last one was more interesting and I missed it. So, and yeah, okay, I'm bitter. Don't hate on me. Spain will offer citizenship to freed political prisoners from Nicaragua. That sounds nice. Sophisticated stone tools may predate humans, study suggests. Holy shit. The discovery of 330 stone artifacts in Kenya that date back 2.9 million years is throwing light on a key question in human evolution. Who first used stone tools? Scientists unearthed hammerstones, cores, and flakes, and the bones of butchered hippos and 2 teeth belonging to an ancient human-like ape known as Paranthropus from eroded slopes along the shore of Kenya's Lake Victoria at a site called Nyayanga on the Homa Peninsula. The discovery of Paranthropus upper and low molar at Nyayanga has undermined the assumption that only humans could make these types of tools. This is actually really fucking interesting. Wow. So maybe there was a species, or likely, according to this evidence, there was a species of an ape-like creature who could also make stone tools. Very cool. then. So they could have. I mean, it's hard to say because we don't know if they evolved into us or if they sort of, if their genetic clines died out. That is also possible, and there's none of their genes in our DNA, and it's purely, coincidence. I believe my one viewer might have left, so I'm think gonna be calling it. Gonna wait for a reply, and if I don't, that I'm gonna be dipping. Yeah. All right, guys, it's been real.